All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Stickbow Chronicles, brought to you by Blackwidow Bows. Got your co-host Blake Hunter here, and then on the other end of the mic, we've got
drum roll. What's going on, Blake?
We fell flat on that, didn't we? Well, that's what you usually do. Is you usually throw it to me, but whatever, man. You kind of laid out on me.
Reflexes. I'm old. I don't dive for fly balls anymore, bro. I catch them on one hop.
Throw them to the cutoff man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and he better be halfway out. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good. Finally getting a little bit of a chance to slow down. The last few weeks has been pretty wild, but finally getting a chance to slow down.
So you went on an awesome hunt, and then you came home and moved, and then you worked in between.
Yeah, it's been really busy at work since I got back. It's been pretty hectic. Girlfriend moved up here with me. She started a new job. Her daughter's in a new school. Just trying to get everybody settled in. But I think we're finally getting settled in, and yeah, it's been really good. Just been a little hectic.
I'm curious, does your work get more busy with the seasons, you know?
Not really. It's just very it's very hit and miss, especially right now with oil prices, but it just seems like when it rains, it pours sometimes. Be out all night and then all the next day, and then go home, get you a nap, and turn around and you're right back at it. And then between all that, I was trying to move. So it's just
when do you find time to protest? You've been doing a lot of protesting.
They've been protesting down at the square every day. We've got a Civil War monument here on the square, and they've been not every day, but every Sunday they all get together down there and protest it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You've been down there barbecuing for them, haven't you? Kind of supporting them.
You
there.
Bet.
Yeah,
selling them street tacos.
we get them on Thursdays. It just so happens, I don't know, they got a plan on Thursdays. They show up and not really protesting, just standing with their signs, all peaceful and such, and whatever. More power.
Yeah, it's been pretty peaceful here for the most part, I think, as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. But
I don't know. I'm coming home from work when I see them, so I don't know. They must get out of work earlier than me, or not have a job. I don't know.
There's potential.
There's potential. It says Pinocchio. You've got potential. Freaking love that commercial.
Today we had on Colby Cox, who is Jason Cox's nephew. Is that right?
Yep.
Nephew.
Yep.
Yes. Super cool guy. I guess he shot a stick bow in 2013, killed an elk, but never, it was just kind of one of those deals. He was just kind of in it and then back out of it. And then recently has picked it up again and been very successful right from the get-go. And I don't think he's going to turn back. I think he's all stick bow all the time now. Sounds like.
No, we've got him on audio. He draws a sheep tag. He's taking a stick bow. Really, again, I listen to a guy like this who's grown up, done a lot of bow hunting before he picked up a stick bow. He picks up a stick bow and doesn't sound like he misses a beat. And, it's just, there's so much, I'm more convinced when I talk to guys like this that there's so much that has to do with the man behind or the person, man or woman behind the weapon as to the success. I mean, you master your weapon, you're shooting good, this and that, but it's what's behind it. It's, how good of a hunter you are, because doesn't sound like he's missed a beat.
It's a mentality and a work ethic thing is what it boils down to. You're going to get out of something what you put into it. And I think that is across the board with whatever weapon you've got, whether that's compound, rifle, whatever, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And stick bow's no different. And time again, it's even with the shameless plug here, the I Hunt Close Trad Kill 2020 stuff, you you see how successful some of these guys are that are newer to the scene, and um, yeah, they just never, like you said, never skip a beat.
Yeah. We see guys and gals lots of times say, it's my first year and, this is what I shot. And whether it be a doe or a buck, but you look at their page or you look at their, their Facebook page or Instagram page, they've been killing critters for a long time. So
Yep.
I guess the backside of it is if you're not killing anything with a compound, don't expect to kill anything picking up a stick bow.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, I think we make it sound easier than it is sometimes too. So also, it is doable. You are going to get out of it what you put into it, but also don't have false expectations. I mean, it is bow hunting, and shit happens too. So
Yep. Yes, sir. What else has
well,
been going on?
deer season just got rolling here, so um, yeah, just
I put a post on our closed Facebook group about scent. I don't know, scent control, scent elimination. Just
I saw
asking
that.
asking what people do. Everybody else everybody has their own routine. Some really good stuff on there. But honestly, it was spawned by seeing Cameron Hale down in Texas down there. And he posted something about hunting. I don't know how you guys bow hunt at 90 degrees. The
It
dude
sucks.
is the dude is in Crocs. I mean, holy crap. That does
Yeah,
not
and
sound fun.
he's south and east of me, so it's probably hotter there than it was here. Actually, it got up to like 96 today, which for here is way hot even. But
96?
yeah, it was 96 degrees here today. It's
Why
crazy.
don't you move?
I don't know. I like shooting stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff to shoot
It's
or shoot
55
at.
and it's 55 and raining here, and it's pretty nice.
I don't know. That doesn't sound very nice. But I feel like there's a middle ground somewhere, and unfortunately, it's called San Diego,
Colorado.
California.
It's Colorado.
Yeah, that's the new San Diego, California.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's the sin elimination thing. We should probably do a podcast on that. You and I have kind of talked about that and kicked it around, and I have my opinions, and I spend a lot of time around a lot of deer just by nature of where I hunt and how I hunt sometimes. So I've
Well,
got
there were some really good insights. A couple of guys jumped in that had worked with drug dogs.
yep.
And you get the comments all the way from like arg, it's all about the wind, it doesn't matter, to guys that get down to the minutia. And I'll tell you, I gotta change it up. I gotta get a little more serious because this I put a bear bait up, my really good bear bait. I never hunted it in the fall, but I had a few days, put it up, and I'm frustrated because I've gotten lazy with my scent elimination and getting busted. You just put too much time. And speaking for myself, you put too much time, whether it be deer hunting, elk hunting. Honestly, I don't do anything for elk hunting
Yeah, that's a
because,
little different.
yeah, I mean, I'm wringing wet, man. I got freaking Niagara Falls running down my back. There's
Yeah.
not much you can do. But when you're in a tree stand, when you're stationary, it matters a bunch.
Yeah, just any variable I can control. I try and obviously there's a line that's got to be drawn somewhere, and that's probably one of the topics we'll talk about. But any variable I can control, I'm going to control. Like you said, it's you don't put in 6 or 8 months worth of hard-earned work to go in and smell like a dirty sock and not see anything. So um,
One of my favorite posts was from Jim Willem, former president of Pope and Young. He's actually been at we've had him on the podcast once or twice. And it was I liked the last line or last few sentences was basically what you and I are talking about. You put so much work into this, why not take every precaution? Because if you narrow down your scent cone, that could mean the difference. And hunt mountain whitetail like I have to around here, it's not like a parade of deer. If I see 3 or 4 deer a year,
Right.
in the month of November, half of October and November, that's significant.
Well, and the thing for me has been is I used to be, hardcore hunt the win guy and hunt the perfect win guy, always wanted a perfect win. And I just never saw many mature bucks when I had a wind that was perfect for me. Because typically, when the wind's perfect for me, the deer is not going to come in to where I want him to come in unless he's got the wind in his nose or unless he can get the wind in his nose. And as I started to kind of play around with different things, I've noticed a huge difference in the amount of mature deer I see, and I've noticed a huge difference in their behavior when they are downwind of me, when I do certain things and when I don't do certain things. So that's that's my spiel on it, I guess.
Maybe we ought to get Chris Rowe. I bet he knows a few things.
I bet he does. That
Yeah.
actually, that's a really good idea. I think we should do that.
That could be pretty fun. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's really cool listening to the Wenzel brothers in all their experience. One of the ones that they dropped, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago was, mature bucks walking with the wind at their back. Right?
Mhm.
They're using their eyes and their nose from, there's so much to it. I think that's why
Yeah.
I find whitetail intriguing is they're just
Well, and they're
fascinating.
different. They're different all over the country too.
I think you're right,
they,
man.
they act totally different, and I can tell you for a fact that I don't have a whole lot of out of state experience with whitetails, but the deer in Kansas act totally different than they do here, and it's very strange, but it's deer just get accustomed to living in their environment and how they need to do that effectively. And here they get hunted with a gun over bait for 2.5 months, and you gotta know the drill to survive 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So
What I'm about to say has a lot of bearing. It's got a lot of bearing in the buck to doe ratio, but the amount of vocalization I hear people talk about, like Ohio and around there, man, I hear a buck grunt around here and it's a big deal.
yeah,
And
same
over there,
here.
yeah, Iowa and stuff, they're just talking about all of these vocalizations. Like I'm I've heard like 3 bucks. Well, I can't say more than that, but it's not once a year that I hear a buck grunt.
Well, I've had great success in Kansas snort wheezing. I've had great success in Kansas rattling, and here I've had almost zero success doing those things. It's very, very strange. And like you said, it's very rare here to hear a buck fight or hear a buck grunt, unless he's behind a doe and you just hear just a mild grunt. But it's
Yeah, I
it's
guess
funny.
what I was trying to say is I don't think geographically it's just about buck to doe ratio. I don't think they're because I've hunted some high density areas here in the past, and I never experienced like what they talk about in Iowa or Ohio or
It's a high density here. It's a
yeah.
high density here, and there's not a whole lot of vocalizations going on. But it also is. I don't really know what the answer is. I guess Chris Rowe would be a good person to get on and talk about these things because he may, being a biologist, he may have a little better insight into it. But it's interesting because I talk to guys who hunt all over the country, and everybody's got their own little secret sauce.
Chris Rowe was awesome to have on talking about elk. I've got so many messages from like personal friends, guys in town here and stuff. Like that guy was awesome. He is so fired up. And I had some other people contact me like, man, I wish I get somebody that fired up about whitetails. I was like, yeah,
He
well,
is that fired up about whitetails.
yeah, that's what I told him. I think whitetails is bread and butter.
Yeah, that's what he likes. He eats it up, and he hunts in Kansas too. So it'd be It'll be interesting to hear his opinion on several different things, but yeah, I think we need to do that for sure.
How do you drink Coca-Cola this late at night?
Very, very carefully.
Nasty. Nasty.
My mountain hunting is over for the year, so
Well,
I got to get in whitetail shape.
well, yeah. Well, I'm assuming there's rum in it. For crying out loud, who would drink just straight Coke? Wow.
I like a Coke every now and then.
Dang. At what is it there? 9 o'clock? 10
It
o'clock?
is
10?
9:15.
Man, you're hardcore.
No, I'll fall asleep like a baby.
Well,
All right, you ready to get out of here?
absolutely, man. Let's big shout out to the sponsors. Kifaru International, the Footed Shaft, Selway Archery, Ironwill Outfitters, and of course, Blackwidow Bows. We appreciate their support. We appreciate you guys' support. Be safe, hunt hard. Like it?
I like it. Colby Cox, here we go.
Roger out. So yeah, Colby, we're just a BS session and talk about how your trad journey progressed and you've had looks like a ton of success here just recently.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Cool. You'll be disappointed, man. It's like getting caught having lunch with the nerds at school. You're like,
Yeah.
People be like sitting at the nerd table.
Well, that's all right. I was there in high school, so I'm just now 32 years old and still at the nerd table, so it's all good.
Colby, when did you start shooting trad? I'm Blake, by the way. Sorry, I was kind of doing some work stuff there at the beginning.
Yeah, no problem. I shot trad in 2013, just for the year, but I recently just got into it, full time, I guess, during the coronavirus shutdown. Our valley got shut down for, I think, like 5 weeks it was. So we couldn't go to work. So, I was sitting at home and I had a homemade longbow my dad made me. And I was just shooting that. Kind of just started YouTubing, just happened to YouTube like trad hunting or whatever, and Aaron Snyder popped up first thing. So I start watching it and, it kind of just went from there.
You still shooting the same bow?
I'm not. I started off with that PLX back in 2013. I traded that for a PCH. And then I sold that PCH for a Satori. And then I recently just bought a Blackwidow KB, 54 inch in September, just before I shot that bear.
So I'm sorry, forgive me, but I haven't been following too closely along. What all hunts have you had this year and what kind of success have you had? And go down the list.
So I had my 2 elk tags at neither sex, and then an antlerless, and I had a bear tag, a turkey tag, and a deer tag. Opening morning elk season, I'd shot a bull. I was walking up the trail calling and, stopped for just a second there and seen a flash of white. And I'm like, shit, is that an elk or is it not? And then I seen a flash of horns. I'm like, all right, there's an elk. And they were close, 40 yards maybe. And it was 2 bulls and 2 cows, one small 5-point and then the 6-point that I shot. The 5-point, was walking through a window and I was going to shoot the 5-point. I don't pass up anything. And I cow called at him and he just didn't stop in my window. So he kept on walking by. Cow went through the window. As I cow called to try and stop that 5-point, the 6-point that I'd shot, he bugled at me and he was probably like 25 yards just up the trail from me, but just staring at me through some brush and that I was behind. And he couldn't see me. And, so he stared at me for a while. And he started walking that same trail that 5-point went by. And I ranged the tree that my opening was. It was 21.6. And I knew once he was walking that trail, he was going to go right there. And just before he stepped out, I drew back, anchored. He stepped out. I cow called hard at him. And I was already holding where I wanted, to hold. As soon as he stopped, he looked at me, but the arrow was already there and hit him in the shoulder. He ran, and the arrow snapped off probably like 10 yards. I'm like, all right, I hit him in the shoulder, not sure, how much penetration I got. Kind of circled up behind a pine tree, was just standing there. He took about 10 more steps and bedded down. I'm like, all right, he's hit hard. And then he died right there. I mean, within sight, 60 yards, 70 yards from where I shot him.
Cool. What was your arrow setup and stuff, and where did you end up actually hitting him? Did you hit any bone or anything like that?
It did go through the shoulder. I mean, it went right through the shoulder. I mean, I aim at the shoulder, and I always have, archery hunting. So I set up my arrow for that specifically. Shoot a Victory TKO 350, had 300 grains up front, 250 grain VPA 2 blade, and 4 3-inch trad vanes.
And that was your first trad kill?
That was my second. In 2013, I shot a 5-point with that longbow that I had, that Blackwidow longbow. That hunt, my dad we actually were both hunting with our Blackwidows that year. So my dad's kind of off and on, always hunted with his Blackwidow. I just decided to do it with him. I'd killed, 4 or 5 or 6 elk consecutively with my compound bow. So I got that longbow. He shot a small 4x5 that same morning with his recurve. And then there was a 5-point up the hill bugling. So I snuck in there, and he was raking his horns, and I was trying to shuffle to get a shot. And he'd move to one side of the tree. I'd try to move to the other side of the tree to get a shot. And we kind of just, did that for 10 minutes or so. And finally, my dad cow called down the hill, and he walked out 10 feet from me. And I'd always just cow called with my compound bow to stop him and shoot, but with the compound bow, I'd have been drawn back. With the longbow, I cow called, drew back and shot. And I mean, he knew what was up, and he kind of just jumped. I shot right under him. He spun out. I cow called hard at him, and missed, shot right under him. And, he spun out. I knocked another arrow and shot him in the chest at probably 30 yards, and that was that. He died just up and over the hill.
Cool, man. And what made you sit it down and go back to the compound for a few years, and then vice versa? What made you pick it back up?
I just never really felt comfortable in 2013. My dad has always shot instinctive, and I shot all summer long back then. And, with instinctive, it feels like you absolutely pinwheel it, or for me, myself, it was, way off in left field, or I'd miss just terrible, and just never felt super comfortable with it. But just recently, of course, listening to you guys, listening to the Kifaru cast and the Push and Tom Klum and Joel Turner, I watched every YouTube video. I listened to every podcast that I could for months and months and months. And so I started to gap shoot, and I would shoot 300, 400, 500 arrows a day. And with gap shooting, I feel extremely confident behind the bow. I feel like I can hit what I want to hit. Just like with a compound bow, obviously I'm not shooting as far, but 45 on an elk, I'm taking the shot every time. If it's a good ethical shot. And I feel confident behind the bow. And in 2013, I just never did, just shooting instinctively. Like I said, it was just either an absolute pinwheel or it was, way off in left field.
I got to back up and ask a question real quick. You said you you aim at the shoulder. You aiming straight up from the leg, or are you aiming forward of the leg?
I'm aiming, I would just, as I'm aiming on an elk, I'm holding right on that leg, directly straight up from the leg.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the golden triangle type area. I'm pretty similar on deer and stuff. Just go straight up that leg is usually where I'm at.
Yeah, you hit right there. If you go through the shoulder, it's money. If you go left, it's also good. For years I've just aimed at the shoulder. As shooting a compound, I always shot heavyweight and a heavy arrow, so I'm aiming at the shoulder, and it's gonna go through.
If it goes, you said if it goes left, it's still good. Which way is he facing?
Well, he would be facing right, hopefully.
I just had to.
Yeah.
So you're in Colorado, and longtime listeners might remember your uncle was on early on, correct?
Yeah, Jason Cox. I was with him. I wasn't with him when he shot that bull, but he had texted me. I was in the same area. He said, "Hey, I hit a bull. Can you get a hold of your dad and come help me?" So he called my dad. I called my dad. I forget what the story was, but we went up there and helped him, and we ended up finding it for him and helped him pack it out.
Folks on Instagram are going to know Jason Cox also as Elk Song Images, and so it must be your aunt is Carla.
Yep.
Okay, so Carla, is it? What's her Instagram handle?
Man,
Carla
I don't
Cox,
even know.
But anyways,
Carla Cox.
Yeah, I think so. Fantastic wildlife photographers. So if anybody's on Instagram, you're gonna want to follow them because just incredible photos.
Yeah, he takes great photos.
Jason was on. He also had he still got hardcore. Was it traditional hardcore? Hardcore traditional.
Hardcore traditional.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He was on. Like a year and a half ago or something. So
I learned a. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say now we're working our way through the family. Now we got you on.
Yeah, I learned a lot from Jason hunting and my dad. Both of those guys. I grew up hunting with them, shooting with them, and they taught me basically everything I know about hunting and shooting a bow. Between those two, they taught me a lot.
So is your main thing pretty much elk hunting? Is that pretty much what you stick to? Or did a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. If somebody asks me, I'm an elk hunter. That's what I enjoy. That's what I work for. That's what I strive for all year long. When I'm not working, I'm either shooting my bow or getting ready for hunting season. That's all my wife and I do is get ready for hunting season and wait for September to come around.
Yeah, that's rough here. This year was kind of tough for me because, that's what you do. Like you say, year round, you're planning for your elk season. And my elk unit's 8 hours from here, and I got 10 days in. The fires drove us off, and I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs waiting for whitetail. So
turn into a grouse hunt.
Yeah. So your wife bow hunts too?
Yeah, she does. We just recently got married this year. She's hunted with me for the last, I think, 3 years now. She shot her first bull 4 years ago. You know, we were laughing. She follows me wherever I go, and she's, you know, my hunting partner. We do everything together. We hunt together. We shoot together, and she shoots just as much as I do. You know, it was tough this year because, you know, we just found out she was pregnant. I think the week before hunting season started, so we weren't sure what we could do, what we can't do. Can she hunt? Can she not hunt? You know, so she ended up hunting this year, which was rough. You know, I mean, we always hunt together. So I was by myself this year. I mean, of course, my dad was in camp as well, and you know, my wife was up there, and my mom was up at camp too. But out in the woods, it was, you know, I was by myself.
So you hunt close to home then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the hunting pressure been like? You know, we keep hearing that you're in Colorado, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we keep hearing like hunter numbers are down, but everybody to a person across the West for the last couple of years are like, it's crazy. There's people everywhere. What's it like there?
Yeah. You know, this year wasn't as bad as the past 2 years, but I think that has a lot to do with the coronavirus and all that. But last year and the year before was just crazy number of hunters. I mean, more than I've ever seen, for sure.
You know, around here we were laughing the last few years, or last 5 years, I guess. It was, you know, lumping residents in too. And I used to hunt. I used to hunt near my house. I don't hunt any of the units much around my house for elk anymore, but it was like the biomass of crabs, right? So everybody would pile into one area, and you know, they're like, oh, there's too many people here. And then it seemed like the next year they'd be in another area. They were like, oh, there's too many people here.
Yeah, 2 years ago, you couldn't find a trailhead that didn't have 4, 5, 6 trucks. You know, I was on a hillside one night glassing across the valley and seen some elk. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go there in the morning. You know, I wake up super early, walk in the dark, get there before everybody else, pull up to the parking spot. I'm the first one there. I'm like, all right, this is fine. You know, getting ready, getting all my stuff out. Another truck pulls up, you know. So I talk to him and I say, he actually goes, hey, did you see them elk? I'm like, yeah, I seen them last night, you know. So he said, well, what do you got planned? You know, I said, well, I'll go to the right. He said, all right, I'll go to the left, you know, that way we don't mess each other up. There ended up being 6 trucks and 13 guys on that same hillside when daylight broke. I mean, it sounded like every call that you could get from the store was going off. And I just ended up sitting there that morning, and I just so happened to get service. So I sat there on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it was, and just watched them, you know, 70, 80 yards out there. And there had to been 100+ calls, and they eventually just worked away and got spooked out of there. And that was that. And I just walked out.
You know, a guy ought to have kind of like a pop-up coffee stand rigging in the back of his truck. When that stuff happens, just like kick out this coffee booth and make a few bucks.
Yeah. I mean, you could have made a decent amount of change that morning for sure.
Heck yeah. You know, like Trailhead Coffee. Maybe you can work a deal out with Black Rifle Coffee Company and like do a Trailhead Coffee.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We saw a guy in blue jeans and tennis shoes 16 miles back with a JanSport backpack on, and he was elk hunting. I don't know what he was going to do when he shot one, or if he shot one, but he was elk hunting.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So what all have you tallied up? We kind of started the podcast off a little different than usual. It's kind of scrambling. What all have you killed with a stick bow now?
2 elk, the bear, and a turkey.
And how many in how many years?
I guess this is my second official year, you know, hunting with the traditional gear.
That's pretty darn good.
This year was just you know, this year was just, I mean, it was crazy just how it worked out. You know, I'd shot a ton, I mean, a lot of arrows, to the point where I lost feeling in my middle finger for 6 weeks.
Been there.
You know, I was scared. So I go to the doctor and I'm like, look, man, is the feeling going to come back or not? Like, I don't care if it does or it doesn't. I just want to know. I don't want to do any more damage, you know, than what I've done. He goes, no, it's fine. It's going to come back. You got nerve endings down either side of your finger, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. He goes, don't shoot until the feeling starts coming back, you know? So I'm like twiddling my thumb for 6 weeks and just listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and eventually it comes back and I'm back to shooting, you know, but I did modify my tab. I put an extra piece of foam in there just for, you know, a little bit more padding. But yeah, it was just lost feeling in my finger. This sucks.
What kind of tab you shoot?
Safari Tough.
Yeah, man, that's a nice tab. I'm surprised.
That's pretty thick tab too.
Yeah,
I had the same exact thing happen when I first started shooting. I had my middle finger went numb on me for a couple months there.
You guys ever seen that? You guys ever seen that? That writing about Agincourt and Pluck U? Yeah. You seen it, Blake? Oh, really? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to dig that up. It's all about the middle finger. Yeah.
I guess I hadn't seen it.
No.
I don't know what kind of joke you're trying to
make.
Oh
no, it's funnier than heck, man. And it's a bit of history. So as to do with the middle finger in Agincourt. So roll on.
So did you shoot the bear in the spring?
I shot the bear in September.
Okay.
Just a month or so ago. We'd had pictures of this bear all summer on a trail camera. So I was sitting in a water hole, and I'd sat there for, I think, 2 nights. May have been the third night. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, if nothing's come in, something has to come in. So I go back up there. I'm sitting there. Hear some, rustling in the brush, and sure enough, bear comes out, and I wasn't sure if it was big or not. He circles around, walks into the water hole. Had to be, 19 yards, 18 yards, something like that. And I just got the bow on Friday, and this was Saturday night. That KB, that Blackwidow KB. And I've been practicing at camp at 20 yards, 20 yards, 20 yards. So finding my, aiming point. And he walked right in, 19 yards, and I shoot right under him. And doesn't really know what happens. He just spooks off up into the oak brush, and there's a trail right behind my tree stand. And I'm thinking, all right, well, he's going to walk 5 yards from me, and I'm going to shoot him. And he kind of just stood there, looked around, and walked straight back down to the exact same position. And then I knew exactly where to aim. Drew back, let it go, hit him right in the shoulder. He circled up the hillside. I could hear him up there breathing, and he just stood there, and I couldn't see him anymore, and I just barely heard a death moan. I'm like, all right, I think that was it. So I text my buddy who was in the area, and he said he could be there in about 45 minutes. I told him, well, I'm going to go in at 7:30. I could hear him breathing up there on the hillside. So he's like, well, I'll be there as soon as I can. So I jumped down, put all my stuff back in the car. It's like 7:15. I walk over to my arrow. It was covered in blood. There was blood on the tree, and I'm like, all right, he's hit hard. So I go walking up to where I'd last seen him. He's not there. I take a few more steps up and over a little rise, and he was right there, 10, 15 yards, just piled up.
That was a dandy bear.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't sure how big he was walking in. I had no idea how big he was. But he ended up, the taxidermist said he's right at 21 inches. So they'd see, how he dries out. But yeah, I mean, it was a big bear for sure.
21?
What's Boone and Crockett?
That's a toad, man.
Yeah, that's a giant bear.
Yeah. They said, 21 is Boone and Crockett all time, I think.
Golly.
So yeah, I'm probably not even going to get him officially scored. I mean, I know he's big. I don't really, I would have shot a smaller bear. I didn't know, to be honest with you, how big he was. So now it was just a bonus to, I was like, oh shit, it is a big bear.
No, on board 100%. That is a big bear. I'd do the same thing. I probably wouldn't get it scored, but that's people say, well, it doesn't matter what it scores, but it puts in a context how big they are. I mean, that's where I'm at. I was talking to Cody Fish last night, and we were talking about how many bears you guys got down there. Jiminy Christmas.
There are a ton of bears.
Yeah.
A bunch of bears. I brought that bear to my taxidermist buddy to help me skin it out. I'm going to do a rug. So I got a hold of the Division of Wildlife. They came and checked it out. So old, they couldn't pull a tooth out of it, So he marks on the paper like 9 to 12 years old or whatever, So
9 to 12.
Yeah, we bring it down to the taxidermist that's going to do the rug, and he's like, no. I mean, this thing's got to be, he said 18 to 21. I didn't even know bears live that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never seen a bear that big before. It's crazy if indeed that bear was that old.
Yeah, I would have. You can't find a tooth. I got to say it's over 15. I guess I don't know what the heck they eat down there. Maybe those acorns are a little tougher on their teeth. I don't know. Is that what they eat? Acorns down there?
Yeah. Yep. His front.
Sorry for all you Southerners. Those are acorns, right?
Yeah.
Acorns.
Acorns. My bad. I'll work on that.
His front canine was completely broke off at the gum line.
Golly.
Man.
It had to have been eating mashed potatoes at this point, then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me nervous.
Oh,
that's good stuff. What do you did you skin him out, or once you skinned him out, what did he smell like? Did you eat him? Oh, I guess you got to save the meat down there, don't you?
Yeah. No, my wife and I actually really enjoy eating bear, and my wife, she likes bear more than elk.
Really?
So she's got a choice between bear steak and an elk steak. She's going to pick the bear steak every time.
Man, that's a good woman.
Yeah. No, she's awesome. I mean, she puts up with me shooting every single day. She follows me hunting wherever I go. She's awesome.
Well, things are going to change a little bit if you got one in the oven there, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Yeah. There is a, my wife included, there is a kind of a mental stumbling block there with bears. We generally sausage most all of it. I'll do some backstrap. But the roast, I can't get her to get over the hurdle. And it's been 28 years. I'm probably done pushing her.
Yeah, my wife will cook it up, roast, bear burger, bear steaks. We like it. She would prefer shooting bear over elk, and she says that every year. She goes, as long as I shoot a bear, I'm happy. So this year that she couldn't hunt, she was pretty upset about it.
What's your favorite recipe together, for bears?
Just a bear steak.
Really?
She just cooks bear steak. Yeah, that's it.
You do the quarters? You cutting steaks off the quarters, or just
we just get ours processed. So just backstraps.
Yeah,
backstraps, tenderloin. Yeah.
One of the best bear steaks I ever had probably 2015, 2016. Me and my buddy Dan Hooper, he killed a bear, and we rendered some of the bear fat into in the pan. Got some bear fat in the pan, and dropped the back straps in there. Holy smokes, that was good. That was a spring bear.
Is it? Does it depend on what they've been eating, whether or not they're good? That's what I always hear, is if they've been eating a lot of fish and things like that, that sometimes they're not worth a damn.
I mean, I don't really know. People say, we get asked that a lot. Well, do you eat the bears? And we're like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. I mean, so I don't know what they're eating for sure. But they're definitely not trash bears. They're not town bears or anything like that. So yeah, I mean,
they're eating them acorns.
Yeah, evidently they are.
I'll tell you though, when I was working up in Alaska and you skin one of those, salmon feed and brown bears, it is, man, you might as well be skinning a rotten fish.
Oh, wow.
That is rough. I mean, rough. Yeah. And then once you're fleshing the hide, still, I mean, it's just rotten salmon. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Doesn't really want to make you go out and eat a salmon steak either.
Yeah, because people look at us, they're like, gosh, you eat them, but maybe we haven't had a bad experience with them, I mean, but we eat every bear that we shoot. The first bear that I shot, we actually tanned the hide, and I was never like, oh man, this is nasty or anything like that. I was just, no big deal, I guess.
Yeah, I shot one in Arizona a few years ago, and I think they eat mainly prickly pears out there. It's kind of a desert bear, and it's been fine.
Yeah.
What do you got left for this year?
Like I said, we got that whitetail hunt coming up. We always go down to Texas on a hog hunt, so we're gonna do that, and then that's about it.
Where's your whitetail hunt?
What's that? Sorry?
Where's your whitetail hunt?
It is in Brady, Nebraska. We went out there with Red Dog Outfitters last year, and I said I'd never go back whitetail hunting, but that was with my compound bow, and I was kind of over hunting, I guess, with my compound bow, and just burnt out, So that's really why I switched to the traditional gear, and now, it's just like a fire lit under my ass again to shoot and to hunt. So we're gonna go back out there and see if we can't get it done.
So back up a little bit and tell us how it was to how it was mentally making the switch. I mean, when you switched to a traditional bow, initially, did you feel like you were giving a bunch up as far as distance, accuracy?
Yeah, I mean, I again started off shooting instinctive, and I'm just thinking, all right, just shoot as much as you can, but then I start hearing these podcasts and watching these YouTube videos and hearing about this gap shooting, and I felt once I figured out how to gap shoot and how to aim with this thing, I didn't feel like I had a crutch, I've shot several elk, and I think I've shot one outside of that probably 45-yard range, So, I mean, I didn't feel that, In the beginning, yeah, when I was shooting instinctive, sure, but, as I shot more and practiced more and got more confidence behind the bow, I'm like, oh yeah, you can do this, I guess the one thing I was concerned about was my arrow setup. Since I do aim for the shoulder, is it gonna be enough to go through the shoulder blade?
And what's the reasoning for aiming in that golden triangle area? I'm just curious what your thinking is there.
not real sure. We went to Africa and they just aimed straight up the leg, you know. And even before then, I just always aimed at the shoulder, you know, shoot him through the shoulder. You're either going to, you know, hit the heart or it's going to do the trick. It just so happened with my elk, I didn't hit the heart, I didn't hit the lungs. I just went into his, you know, body cavity and he bled out right there. So I've just kind of always aimed at the shoulder.
Yeah, for me, it's just that it seems like shooting deer there anyways, that they don't go near as far, or they don't seem to make it very far when you take the running gear out.
Yeah, I mean, break them down, right? That was last year, whitetail hunting. We got some buddies out there that are like, oh, you can't shoot whitetail through the shoulder. And then I was shooting an 82-pound Darton with a 525 grain arrow and put it through the shoulder and broke his off leg, you know. And then watching all these YouTube videos, you know, over the past few months, you see a lot of guys shooting them in the shoulder, even with traditional gear. So yeah, just break them down. I mean, you hit them in the shoulder, break their shoulder, or shoot them in the heart.
I was just going to say, so you're talking about listening to the podcast and the gap shooting and stuff like that. So did that, I guess, how quickly did you start to feel a different level of confidence, you know, with the information that's out here now? How quickly did you feel like, hey, I think, you know, I'm going to be able to jump right in both feet and go hunting?
You know, as soon as I heard about it and you start aiming and you make a good shot and off of your point and it hits there, you're like, all right, let's go. You know, I mean, it happened pretty quick, I guess, once I figured it out, just because in 2013, I don't know that there was the information out there. And if there was, I wasn't looking in the right places. But now there is so much information out there that, you know, it's easily accessible. And you could pick up any recurve. And as soon as you find that point on, you know, you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah. As long as you've got a good foundation.
Yeah.
So without that stuff, you know, without these tools that we have now, would you venture to say that you might not have been retained in the sport? Or
yeah, I mean, I would say for myself, yes. I mean, it just in 2013, like, yeah, I did it. I killed an elk with a longbow and wood arrows. You know, that's enough for me. And now, you know, with the information out there, yeah, I think for myself, I know for sure I'm going to stick with it, you know, and I think a lot of other guys will also, if, you know, they get that foundation and they hear all this information. I work with a guy who's hunted with traditional gear on and off, and he's asking me like, man, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, listen to this shit. Like, it works. Listen to these podcasts. I'm sending them all the podcasts that you guys are talking about, you know, the push, you guys, Aaron Snyder talking about it, you know, Joel Turner, Shot IQ. And it goes from traditional to compound. I mean, it's a mental thing, and a solid foundation. I'm like, listen to it, do it. You will blow your mind with how accurate you can be with one of these things.
Especially with a coachable person in a pretty relatively short amount of time, it's pretty amazing with the information we've got now, how easy it can be. And I say that lightly.
Yeah.
It's still pretty damn hard at times, but you know, it at least gives you that confidence that you need to go into the field.
It is extremely hard, you know, but if you're coachable, if you listen to it, and if you put in the work, you know, it's pretty easy to pick up once you feel that.
You know, I just released a podcast with John Barklow, and I think in the beginning we talked a little bit. I don't know if it made it into the podcast. We talked a little bit about the massive amount of quality information, and not just talking archery, but all the way across the board, from survival skills to calling techniques to setups, you name it. I don't want to sound like the old fogey, but we people have tried to promote traditional archery. We've tried to promote it for decades. And it was through, you learn through a book, right? You picked your bow up, you shot instinctive, you learn from a book. And most everybody that I know at that time was learning through Fred Aspel. Again, I mean, I'm beating a dead horse, but it's staggering how easy it is to get quality information. Just on the phone, the thing you carry in your pocket day in, day out, be it, the push, solid archery mechanics, like you said, Joel Turner. I mean, it's staggering the amount of quality information there is out there.
Yeah, it's all out there for you to grab and get a hold of, and it's easy to find.
Yeah. What would be what would be your recommendation for somebody who's listening and shooting a compound, that's wanting to take the leap or thinking about taking a leap, or maybe somebody that's struggling, that's just taking a leap? You got any words of wisdom for them?
Don't overbow yourself and pull a bunch of weight and shoot a poorly grip, because you'll lose feeling in your finger, and then you can't shoot your bow. So start out with a lightweight bow, build that foundation and move up from there.
What tools did you use to build that foundation specifically? Did you go to Clum for his online course, or what did I know you mentioned several different things, but what was your, if you had to pick one, what's your number one go-to?
A lot of the podcasts with Aaron Snyder and Tom Clum, whether it be on Stick Bow Chronicles or The Push, that was the main two that I just listened to. Anytime they were on one of the podcasts or a YouTube video, I would listen to what they had to say. Anybody asks Aaron Snyder, well, yeah, I went and seen my coach, Tom Clum Sr., so, all right, you seen what Aaron Snyder can do with coaching, listen to the coach, see what they have, and listen to it, and it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always been my problem, though, is following directions. You got to follow. You can't just listen to it. You got to follow directions. You're so good in school, and I still struggle there.
It's funny because you're going down. I mean, a lot of the things you say are the exact. It's just, and I hear it from a lot of different guys, not just you. It's a lot of people's paths nowadays are almost identical, and a lot of people have an early success, and that's great for retaining people in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, the success is great, and I've always had good success elk hunting, and just with the traditional gear specifically, I wasn't sure with the instinctive shooting, but now I'm absolutely sure with gap shooting that I can make the shot when I have to, without a doubt.
Confidence, man. It's all about confidence for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be confident in your shot, in your equipment. And now, that I know that I can shoot through a shoulder of an elk, with a recurve, nothing but up from here, I guess.
Did you say earlier what broadhead you were shooting?
2-blade VPA, 250 grain. Yep.
There you go. You just made Christian Wilder happy right there as a shout out for you.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a blast switching to traditional gear. You know, I've always shot a bow, and it's rewarding shooting traditional gear, and you're shooting a group, and you move back, and you're still shooting a group, and you move back, and you're still shooting a group, and then, it's not every time, but it's good to have confidence in yourself and in your equipment.
One thing that Aaron and I were shooting the breeze on a podcast, I don't know, a month or two ago. I think it was Aaron. Anyways, somebody had mentioned target panic and how it's created, or one of the ways it's created is by lack of confidence, right? So you might be standing there at 10 yards, just pounding the X-ring, you back up, maybe 20 yards, you're hammering it. All of a sudden you end up out at 40 yards. And I'm not saying that I'm taking shots at 40 yards, but I love shooting, just letting her rip. And that's when it'll creep in, when you're not confident.
Man, I had target panic with my compound bow, and this was probably 5 years ago. I couldn't even hit the target. I mean, I was almost in tears. It was so bad. I was shooting with my dad and my wife out at my dad's house, and it was bad. I mean, it was that afternoon, it hit me, and I just had to put my bow up, and I shot the next day, and it was gone. But I mean, it was like a 15-minute, 30-minute ordeal. I mean, I could not put my pin on the target and hold my shit together. I was missing the target completely. Had no control.
That is a horrible feeling. I think maybe early August, one of the local clubs had a shoot, an all traditional shoot, and it was almost all novelty shots, right? So they were like, you had to drop a marble, and it went down. You had to get an arrow off, and every one of them was novelty. And it's like after about 8 targets, as timeout. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing this anymore. That type of crap, man, they'll just kill you.
Yeah, no, that's a slippery slope you're going down, and it'll cause target panic for sure.
Yeah,
I've had a pretty bad case of it myself, and it is.
Have you?
How'd
you break it?
With a compound, I did. I had to switch releases.
Mm-hmm.
I shot an index finger trigger release for years and years and years, and was always kind of a hard aimer, and always shot extremely well that way, which is not the way that you're technically supposed to shoot. And when you're a hard aimer, shooting a light trigger, you get target panic. It gets pretty wild pretty quick.
Yep.
So I had to go to a hinge and learn how to shoot the right way.
That was me. I'd shot with an index finger since I was 9, 10 years old, whatever. In the last 6 years shooting a compound, I shot a hinge, I shot a halo, and I hunted with it. I shot competitions with it. That's the only release that I shot, and you learn to shoot the right way that way.
Yeah, and I've had it. I haven't had it bad with a stick bow yet, but I've had little fits of it here and there, and it's just a constant mental game to keep it fought off, I guess.
You ever see yourself going back?
No.
All right, so
no.
You guys have sheep tags? You ever put in for sheep tags?
I don't send in, and
you draw a sheep tag. You're gonna pack a stick bow?
Yeah.
Think about it. Don't answer real quick. Think about it. Sheep tag, once in a lifetime sheep tag.
Yes, I'm using my stick bow.
All right. Well, you draw that tag. We're gonna replay this for you.
You're a
Yeah,
better man. You're a better man than me.
yeah.
Shut
I
up,
mean,
Blake. You'll get fired.
Well, I'm not trying. I'm not a poser. I'll own it.
That's good stuff.
I'm just kidding.
I still shoot competition with my compound bow. I like standing at 20 yards and shooting a Vegas face and, aiming at the middle. But for, hunting, yeah, I'm gonna use my stick bow.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I used to have the little gremlins that crawled up in my head and made me wish that I was grabbing a compound, but it's pretty well subsided at this point. I don't think about it too often.
Yeah, I mean, during hunting season, yeah, of course, I've had like this dream year, right? Whether it was with a compound bow or traditional gear, but it just so happened it's traditional gear. It's never creeped in my mind, even when I was out with my dad, a couple days after I'd filled my tag, like, oh man, I could shoot that bull if I had a compound or anything, like, just wasn't there. I'm talking to a buddy in Alaska, and I'm hoping to go to Alaska next year. And I asked him, I said, man, can we get it done with the traditional gear? And he goes, we can try. I said, well, let's try it.
What are you going up to Alaska for? I'm sorry if I missed it.
I'd like to go next year to Alaska for moose.
That'd be awesome. Just a DIY float trip, or going guided or drop camp, or what?
No, DIY.
Cool.
I'm not sure you want to aim for that shoulder.
Yeah.
Maybe hold her a touchback.
Just the fuzz back behind it.
Yeah, that'd work out well for you. Well, hey man, anybody any other words of wisdom you want to lay on folks?
Just get out there.
Yeah.
Whether you're hunting with a gun or a bow or traditional gear, just get out there, man. We see some crazy things hunting. I mean, there's a lot of people that never see an elk or hear an elk bugle or anything like that. Just get out there and enjoy it.
Absolutely. Keep your expectations realistic. And
that
get
too,
out there.
100%.
Yep, get out there, freaking wear your boots out.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 8 years archery hunting before I even drew back my bow. I mean, followed my dad as a kid. I just remember just like tired, man, and wore out, and you're dragging ass behind him 20, 30, 40 yards, and then all of a sudden he stops, so you stop, and he shoots an elk, and then you got to pack it out. I mean, it was years and years and years of not killing an elk. I mean, it's tough for sure.
Yeah, that's solid right there. It's just to have fun, because we were interviewing somebody a long time ago, and they sheepishly said it took them 4 years to get their first traditional kill. And I was like, what? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, nothing at all. It's, shit, taking the stairs to the top of the mountain, that you don't get as much satisfaction as you do climbing the damn thing. I mean,
yep.
Enjoy the ride.
No, for sure.
Own it. I just said that. I never said that. Well, hey, congratulations again on the pregnancy. That's going to be really cool. And look forward to the yard sale. You're going to have to sell all your hunting gear.
Yeah, thank you. No, we're excited. We're already selling all our stuff. So we're getting ready. We're not real sure what to expect, but I think next hunting season I'll probably be staying at camp a little bit, and she'll probably be going out hunting. For sure.
And that awesome 4-wheel drive is going to turn into a minivan.
Yeah. We are in the process of selling a Jeep we just bought, and getting her a new vehicle.
I can tell you, I've seen some pretty interesting vehicles at the end of some pretty interesting roads in Colorado. You probably make it up in a minivan.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I'd seen a Subaru Outback, I think, coming out of the mountains, and it was pretty cool. It actually had, a set of antlers on the top of it. So I was like, all right, man, good for you, At least you're going.
Yeah, you ain't seen nothing. You seen a Toyota Camry at 8,000 feet, 3 hours from the pavement with Texas plates on. Oh yeah, Manny. Go back a few episodes.
Why do they always have to have Texas plates?
It was Texas, man. I'm telling you, his name was Manny.
Texas for sure.
Yeah. Well, cool, Colby. We appreciate your time, man, and congratulations on the awesome season.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and no, this has been super cool listening to you guys all the time, and no, this is awesome. So thank you guys.
You bet, man. Good luck.
All right, guys.
Tell your Uncle Jason we said hi.
No, I will. I'm gonna text him in the morning for sure.
Okay. You take care, man.
All right, guys. See ya.
Later.
Bye.